One of the good things about having a soft top, when your hands are full, you can just, except I just threw the keys in there and it's locked. So that's good. I just got the phone call. My winch is ready to be picked up. Been waiting for this day for about a month. It's been in repair. Looking forward to getting it back on the Jeep. But first, intro. Alright guys, I hope you liked that intro. I love me some B-roll. And real quick before we get into this video, please remember to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more content on the way and I'd love to have you here. So my Warn Zeon 10S. I'm gonna start off by saying that I love this winch. I've had it for about a little over 2 years, and in that time I've used it for recovery purposes, maybe like a handful, like maybe 5 or 6 times. I've also used it for pulling old Jeeps onto trailers and anything else onto trailers. I've also pulled a palm tree out of my yard that was dead with it because the thing weighed like 250 pounds. In the time that I've owned it, personally, I don't think I've abused it by any means. I've winched myself out maybe 2 or 3 times, and I've winched other people out probably about the same. And that's why I was really surprised. You know, you saw in the beginning of the video that I had an issue with it. Bought the expensive winch. I bought the Zeon 10S so that, you know, it's supposed to be better and you don't have any issues with it. And 2 years in, you know, it failed on me. Luckily it didn't fail out on the trail. That would have sucked. I actually discovered there was a problem with it a day before we were supposed to go out on a little trip. When I was doing a quick once over on the Jeep, checking all the bolts, checking torque and everything like that, I ran the winch out and I couldn't get it to spool back in. I first started having issues with it probably, I'd say like 3 months ago. I was actually pulling a CJ7 up onto a trailer that we found in a barn, and when I went to go spool in to pull the Jeep up onto the trailer, it would just click. I would hit spool in, the winch wouldn't do anything, it would just click. I did it about 5-6 times and then miraculously it started spooling. But doing a once over before that trip, I spooled it out, you know, free-handed, and then I couldn't get it to spool back in. And no matter what I did, you know, all the terminals were clean, I even cleaned them all just to be safe. It wouldn't do anything, it would just click. The solenoid would click, but the winch motor wouldn't activate. I called Warn, told them the issue I was having. They told me where to take it, took it over there the same day, dropped it off. And it's been about 5 weeks that it was in repair. And I just got it back, so I'm super excited to have it back. I've missed having it on the front of the Jeep. All right, well that's enough rambling for now. Here's some footage of the winch. When I picked it up, the guy showed me the parts that were messed up on it. So we'll take a look at that before we get the winch back on the Jeep. Oh no, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's painful to look at. Like, that's really bad. The guy who fixed it even said that he poured like a cup of water out of it. I don't know how that's possible since it's IP68 rated. Okay, we gotta move on. I don't want you to think that I'm hating on or trashing this winch. Like I said, it's one of my favorite upgrades that I've done to the Jeep. I love Warn winches. This is my second one. I had a 9,000 pound regular old Warn winch that I had for about 11 years. Never had a problem with it. I think they're great products. If I could go back, I'd still buy this winch. I know it's not on the Jeep yet. I don't know why I keep pointing at it. It's just like I miss that. I miss that it's not there. Real quick before we get it back on the Jeep, I want to tell you some of the reasons why I like it. So number one, I love the way it looks. I mean, I say that in a lot of my videos that I like the way it looks, and I know that there's more to buying a part for your Jeep than the appearance of it. It's not the whole reason why I buy something, but it does play a major role in it. Another reason why I like it is because I wanted to run synthetic line, and the winch body itself covers up most of the synthetic line. I'm pretty worried about the synthetic line with the UV damage. I know that the Warn synthetic line is supposed to be UV resistant. I don't trust that. I want to keep my synthetic line out of the sun as much as possible, and just the design of the winch covers most of it. And I was able to just get a rope cover here. All this does is it clips onto the front of the winch. The line's protected from bugs and road dirt and all that stuff, and it also protects from the sun. From the top it's protected from the body, from the front it's protected by this, and right behind it's the grill, so there's not a lot of UV exposure there. I like this option because I don't have to put the whole like bag cover over the whole winch, which fades and looks terrible, it turns purple. Not something I wanted to do, so having the ability to just run a cover on the front of it is huge for me. The third thing is, and maybe it goes back to the first point, is that I like the way it looks, is that it's centered. Back when I bought it, I mean it's only been like 2 years, but back when I bought it, there were no other winches that were centered. The winch on the CJ and my other Warn winch, the controller, the solenoid was on one side, and then the motor was on one side, and it was just, it didn't look right. And so when I saw the Zeon for the first time, I was like, I gotta have that, because like, holy cow, why has this not existed before? I like that it's centered, and then something I plan on doing down the road is getting that control pack relocation kit. My bumper doesn't allow the winch to sit recessed down in between the frame rails, and the control pack does kind of block, you know, a good bit of the radiator. I haven't had any overheating issues. The temperature gauge doesn't change. It looks exactly like it did before I put the winch on. I'm just paranoid about that, so I plan on relocating that kit. It's a great design. But that's enough rambling. I want to get this thing back on the Jeep, so let's show some footage of that. Actually, I bought new bolts. It's just a little too short for my comfort. I like to have at least 2-3 threads above the nut. They were only, I mean, they were just barely there, so. Oh man. I'm actually gonna start down here with it. I gotta get that synthetic line spooled back in. And actually I painted this black. It came silver. Of course you gotta have a Factor 55 product up front. They're the best. I decided to run the splicer just because I wanted to buy the little kit that you can use to repair your synthetic winch line if you know you have a failure. And so since I wanted to buy that kit already, this thing was only another, you know, 60 bucks. So versus buying like a Pro Link for, you know, 100 bucks, I got some good practice with that Factor 55 tool. But we're gonna get the winch line back into the winch drum. I remember this being a super huge pain in the butt before, so hopefully this goes smoother now that it's all flattened. We got some baling wire here. I'm gonna use this to get the synthetic line back in the drum. I had to pull it out of the old Jeep toolbox. I'm gonna go through probably twice so that it's not so sharp on the line. Alright, so quick tip for running wires through kind of like tight spaces. You take an old zip tie, big one, just kind of cut it in half. Take your wires, zip tie them to the zip tie, or tape them to the zip tie. Goes right up through here and behind the body mount. Winch is done. Alright, well the winch is back up on the Jeep, as you can see. I feel a lot better now. Yeah, I had a failure with it. You know, Warn stood behind their product. They got it taken care of for me. It was all covered under warranty. I was without my winch for about 5 weeks. Nothing's ever gonna be perfect. I've been super happy with the winch. Hopefully I don't have any more problems with it, and I'm just gonna chalk it up to its bad luck. You know, only time's gonna tell whether or not this winch, you know, holds up again. I really hope I don't have any more problems with it. One thing I did forget to mention is that it pulls super fast. The other day, I mean it's been a few months now, but we were pulling a TJ out. He was stuck on a hill. I was pulling him by myself originally. I had to have another Jeep anchor me so I could pull him back up this hill. The way I was pulling him, he was kind of starting to twist and he didn't like it. So another guy pulled up next to me. He had a Smittybilt winch, the XRC, the one that kind of looks like the Zeon. I would spool, he would spool, and I would have to stop spooling because the Warn winch was spooling so much faster than the Smittybilt. His line would get slack, like all the way down, it would droop all the way to the ground, and it only took like 5 seconds for that to happen. I see a lot of people having really good experiences with it. I really haven't seen anybody have any problems with it. It's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video. I see a lot of people, oh, buy Warn, you know, you can count on it. Bottom line is stuff breaks, especially electronic stuff. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. You know, choose whichever winch you think's best for you and your budget, but I've been happy with my Warn winch. I would buy another one. I don't see myself ever going to any other brand, even though I've had a problem with this one. They haven't let me down except just this one time in over, 14 years of using Warn winches. I'm super happy with it. I like the way it looks. I like that it's centered. I like that you can get that rope cover for 20 bucks. I like that it pulls really fast. I like that Warn stood behind their product with that limited lifetime warranty. But I think that's a wrap on my take of the Warn Xeon 10S. Hope you liked the video. Please don't forget to subscribe. The button's right there. Maybe give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'd love to have you around. I've got a lot more content on the way. See you on the next one.